Welcome to A Leader's Journey, the podcast for leaders who deeply believe there is a better way to lead and desire to create their unique journey towards becoming a legacy leader. I'm your host, Shannon Hammond. Over the last 20 years as a corporate leader and leadership performance coach, I've learned that many leaders believe there is a predefined path they have to follow and struggle leaning into their unique gifts that will create lasting impact and fulfillment. They end up feeling stuck, unhappy, and unfulfilled in the day-to-day of their role, and are challenged with why, since they have experienced success in their career and in life. I'm here to help leaders think through their leadership journey, learn how to ask themselves better questions, and learn the formula to create their leadership journey by design. If you are ready to design your unique leadership journey, lead with confidence, and love the teams you lead, then you are in the right place. Let's do this. Hello, my friends and fellow leaders. I'm glad to have you back here with me this week on the podcast. And if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I am so happy that you are here. And know that your time is valuable, and I'm grateful that you've chosen to spend some of it here with me, and you're taking steps to invest in your growth as a leader. Here on this podcast, we talk about all things leadership. What is a leader? Things that you can work on to be prepared, things that you need to be working on throughout your leadership journey, and things that you need to work on just for yourself as a human and a person that helps you show up at your best and in turn helps you be the best leader. And today's episode is going to be no different. And this is a topic that honestly has been on my heart and my mind for a while. And I struggled with the timing and putting it out and exactly how I wanted to frame the message. And I think now is truly the best time for us to talk about this because this is a critical aspect of your leadership journey. And when you make that honest, committed decision to be a leader, and then especially when you get promoted into that leadership position, you have a critical choice to make. You can choose to be the type of leader that is going to make the choice to look good, or you can choose to be the type of leader that is going to be good. There is a distinct difference between the two, and the path that you choose can very literally make or break your leadership journey. If you've watched anything that is happening right now here in the US, you've seen the perfect examples of a leader who wants to look good versus a leader who wants to be good. That's the difference between showing up just for a photo op and actually putting your feet on the ground in areas. It's the difference between talking in circles about hypothetically what you might do versus actually putting forward a plan. These are big things for us as humans. It's big things for us here in our country. And I really want to keep it focused on what is it that you need to do in your leadership journey and the choice that you need to make and how this is really going to show up. Because it is critical for us as leaders. We need to be good, not just look good. Our organizations are depending on us. Our teams are depending on us. Whether or not your employee actually enjoys coming to work, that decision is, I'm going to ballpark it, and I have no scientific evidence to back it up other than my 20 years of experience in leading people. Whether or not your team actually enjoys coming to work, I'm going to say is 95% determined by you as the leader. We hear it all the time. People don't leave companies, they leave leaders. And that is 100% true. How we show up as leaders and what we actually do, it makes a difference. It impacts the lives of our people. And it's critical for us as leaders that we go into it with the right intention and that we make the right choice. Because again, our teams are depending on it. And the last thing that I want for any leader and really for any employee is to go into something for the optics of it or the fancy title, the alleged job grade increase, which not alleged, there is usually a job grade increase to it. The higher rate of pay that you're going to get, and just fun fact, there are many years that my hourly employees, with the overtime that they needed to work, based on the needs of our business at that time, they put more money on their W-2 than I did as a leader. Being in a leader is not about the pay. Don't get me wrong, there are a lot of perks that come with being a leader, but you should not be going into it for the money. If you are, hint, hint, you're on the look good side, not the be good side. So let's talk a little bit about some of the differences in looking good and being good. Looking good is fake. It's lying to the people that you serve. It's telling them that optics are more important than your actions because you're showing up just to fulfill an image, not actually take action and make a difference. It says that you as the leader are more important than anyone else because you're making yourself the center of attention and putting your needs first. Looking good is weak, and it shows that you are not able to handle the job and the hard work and the difficult decisions that come with being a leader. Being good is authentic. It shows the people that you serve, you are out there doing the work, that you are not afraid to get your hands dirty, that you're never going to ask them to do the things that you yourself wouldn't do, that you hear them and you're focused on removing the obstacles and barriers that are in front of them so they can be the best at their job. Being good says that you walk the talk and you allow your actions to speak for you. It's not just about the words that you're rambling on. It says that those you serve are the most important. Being good is strong, and it shows again that you are willing to do the hard work. You're willing to get your hands dirty, get down into the mess with the rest of your team because you want to make sure that they enjoy their job every day. It's all about action and actually getting things done, and not just getting things done. It's about getting the right things done to make sure that your team is growing, that your organization is growing, and that you are growing as a leader. Now, I do want to dive a little bit more into what some of the differences in looking good versus being good look like, and that may come up for you as a leader in the corporate world. And truthfully, they will apply everywhere, even being a leader in your home and your family or any organization that you are a leader in. This would also apply to those that are in a role where they are leaders of people, or if you are a peer leader and a leader in place, all of these things are going to apply to you. So I encourage you to listen to them. And as we go through them, I want you to think about your actions and how you are showing up, and not only which one of these that you resonate with the most, but which one you actually see the most in your day to day. So I've got 5 different examples that I'm going to share with you. And so let's go through those. The first one, in the looking good. If you're just there to look good, you are people pleasing. You are too focused on making everyone happy and wanting them to like you rather than making the difficult decisions. It's all about your feelings and making others happy, regardless of the impact that it has on the business or whether or not it's actually the right thing to do. If you're being good, you are putting the interest of your team first. You are facing those tough decisions head on, and you are going to do what's right for the whole, for the organization, for your team, for your group, for that individual that you are taking care of, and for your client. It's all about making sure the needs of your team are met. And sometimes that means having to hold them accountable to different decisions that they make, but it's being willing to put yourself out there and make the tough decision when you're faced with it, regardless of whether or not that person is going to like you after you make that particular decision. All right, number two, looking good. That's taking credit for others' ideas and ideas that weren't fully your own and not giving credit to others that may have contributed to it. It's all about you and making sure that you are giving yourself the win and that others see it was you that made that possible. If you're a leader that's being good, you are giving credit to others and you are acknowledging your team's role in the success and the wins of the group. Even when you played a role in it, you're still going to give credit to others first, and not in a way that, oh, I can't think of the word that I want to use, but not in a way that's to make yourself look like the martyr of, oh, it wasn't me, but in a way that is authentic, in a way that makes others feel good about their actions, and in a very specific way where you highlight exactly what they did that gave them the win. It's letting your team and others get those wins that inspires and motivates them to want to do more for your group, that inspires them to want to show up and really helps them want to win again, right? And when you're specific in the feedback that you are given, your team members know exactly what they need to do in the future to get that result again and how they need to continuously show up. All right, our third example, a leader that wants to look good, they deflect blame. They avoid responsibility for everything. It is always someone else or something else. They are loaded up with excuses. Well, so and so didn't reply to my email timely. Well, somebody called out. You can go on and on and on, and I can't sit in that space too long because it makes me very frustrated. But a leader that wants to look good never takes responsibility for their actions or for the things that go wrong. And as leaders, you are accountable for everything that happens in your team. Everything rises and falls on leadership. That is a concept that I first learned from John Maxwell, and he talks about it in a lot of his content. And it's something that I wholeheartedly believe. You as the leader, the buck stops with you. And leaders that want to look good deflect that responsibility and they push that blame out onto everybody and everything else. Now, a leader that wants to be good, they are taking full responsibility for their actions and the failures of the team. They look back at themselves and look inward on what could have been done differently. How could they have shown up? What could they have done to better support their team? Now, that doesn't mean that if somebody on your team was responsible for someone, that they're not holding them accountable, because you do. But the leader also recognizes that they play a role in that. And they're going to take full responsibility. They will be vulnerable. They will admit their mistakes at any level within the organization. And if they are the ones that created the problem, they're going to own up to it before anybody else even has to come to them. Again, it's all about taking that full responsibility. And again, as John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership, and it's recognizing that it started with them and it ends with them. All right, example number 4. If you are looking good as a leader, you're avoiding conflict. Oh, this is one of my favorites too. Leaders who are just trying to look good, they don't confront the issues. They hope that they will just resolve themselves and magically disappear. And this kind of ties back to the first one of people pleasing. They are out there just wanting to go with the status quo and thinking that if we don't acknowledge the issue, that the issue doesn't really exist. They are afraid of conflict. and they will do anything in their power to avoid it at all costs, and not in a healthy way, right? They're doing it from a very reactive standpoint. They will brush things under the rug. They will overlook true issues that are happening. They won't acknowledge where they have issues or failures or potential obstacles that may be coming up, right? Again, it's all about that avoidance and really looking at their leadership through rose-colored glasses. Now, a leader that is being good, they understand that conflict is necessary for success. They confront the issues and they have the necessary discussions to get to the root of what happened. They focus on the clarity of the goals and the mission that is ahead of the team. They are not afraid of conflict. Now, that doesn't mean that they like it, because nobody likes conflict. But they recognize that not everything is all sunshine and rainbows, and that there are going to be times when we need to step into conversations where there are conflicting opinions, where there are serious issues that absolutely have to be addressed. And knowing that the person on the other end of that conversation might get defensive, might not like it, they might disagree and put something back at the leader where they are maybe deflecting the blame, or they point out a shortcoming within the leader. And a big piece of this part of understanding that conflict is necessary for success is being open to giving and receiving feedback. And that is a big and. As leaders that are being good, you have to be open to feedback. And that might mean that you've got to sit there and listen to some harsh things that your team needs to share with you, because you're not meeting the needs that they have, or you're not delivering on what you need to do as a leader so they can fully execute in their role. But they're not avoiding the conflict. And again, it doesn't mean that they like it. They're just willing to face it head on, because they know that as a leader, they have to make the difficult decisions, and that they are going to have hard conversations, and they're willing to step into it because they know that it is the best for everybody in that situation. All right, the last one that I'm going to share with you today. Leaders that are looking good, they are poor at delegation. They feel that they need to do everything in order for it to be right. They don't trust their teams. They look at delegation as a reflection of a shortcoming for themselves. They have to have their hand or their thumb on the pulse of every single thing that is happening. And it's all about control for them, which is why they don't delegate, because they feel like if they don't have full control, then it's not going to get done right. Right? My mom always used to say growing up, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done right. Maybe that it was true in that situation, but that's where, as a leader, you've got to be able to do some inner work and look in and say, well, if it doesn't get right, if I don't do it, where do I need to show up differently? And how do I need to better prepare my team so they know what they need to do? And it's also an exercise in trust. You have to be able to trust your team to be able to get things done. Leaders that are looking good, they don't trust anybody. Because again, it's all about them. It's about making them look good and them needing to have control over it all. So they don't want others to be involved because they don't want them to get the win, which is part of why they don't delegate. Or again, they just don't trust people to get it done. All right. A leader that is being good, they delegate effectively and appropriately. They are honest with themselves and others about their areas of strengths and weaknesses, and they leverage the strengths of their team. So not only can they as a leader do their best work, but they can allow their team to do their best work. And when your team is able to do their best work and they see you as a leader, bringing them into the fold, honoring and recognizing their strengths, You are empowering your team in the most beautiful way. You are helping them grow, and you are saying, I fully trust you, and I know that you can do this better than I can. And I want our team to be showing up at its best. I want others to see us at our best. And that means that this particular task, that's not for me. That's for you, and you are going to deliver, and you are going to be able to shine in front of the team and everybody else. Delegating appropriately is such a big challenge for leaders sometimes to work through. However, when you can really master the art of delegation, you will flourish so much as a leader, and you will strengthen your team in ways that it really is hard to understand until you actually do it. If delegation is a struggle or a challenge for you, go back and listen to podcast episode number 21. That is where I dove deep into the art of delegation. And that episode can really help you if this is an area where you recognize, you know what, I'm really not delegating to the best of my ability. And this is an area that I want to polish up as a leader. So go back and listen to that. Again, it's episode 21. I'll put a link in the show notes for this episode as well, so you can easily find it. All right. Those are just 5 examples. I could go on and on and on all day. And I tell you, and I've been thinking about this topic for months. I have pages and pages of notes in my journal about the difference between looking good and being good, because it is something that I am extremely passionate about. And I want every leader to be good. I want every leader to be set up for success. And these are things that if we don't talk about them, we won't know, and we won't be able to make better decisions. Now, as you heard in the comparisons, the best and the true leaders, they do want to be good, not just look good. And they are working hard at being good every day. Looking good is not what leadership is all about. And it's not being in service of others, which is what the heart of leadership is all about. Now, if you found yourself, or you found some of your habits and tendencies that lean more towards the looking good, don't be too hard on yourself. Many of the things that we are seeing in the world, and that maybe you have experienced in the past with a leader that you had, might be impacting the decisions that you're making. So I want to encourage you to reflect on that and start shifting your habits and your behaviors one at a time, and really focus on why you wanted to be a leader, what drove you to pursuing a leadership journey, and how can you lean more into being good as a leader. And that's something too, if you are stuck on your vision as a leadership, I have a 3-part series, episodes 13, 14, and 15, on creating your leadership vision. Highly recommend them. They are very much workshop style, so be prepared with a pen and a paper to write some things down, because you will, I have a lot of reflection questions that can help you with that. Journal about why you wanted to be a leader. Journal about what being good means to you and how you really want to show up every single day. And that podcast series might help you with that. Contemplation, reflection, and pivoting is all part of the leadership journey. It is ongoing. It is something that you should be doing on a daily basis to make sure that you are growing as a leader. Reflecting on what has happened is how we make better decisions in the future, and really connect with who we are and what we want for our future self. I appreciate you tuning in to this episode and spending some of your time again here with me this week. I hope that you have found this episode valuable, that you have some lessons that you are going to walk away with, and that you've learned something about yourself as a person and as a leader. And I hope that you decide that you are going to be a leader that is going to be good, not just look good. Until next time, my fellow leaders, lead with confidence and show up every day as the leader you are striving to be. for listening to A Leader's Journey podcast. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're excited to learn more, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and tune in next week for another exciting leadership lesson. I'd love to help you level up your leadership, achieve the goals you desire, and design your unique leadership journey. So click the link in the show notes to schedule a free Level Up Your Leadership session. During this time, we will define where you are in several key areas of leadership, where you desire to be, and how you can level up your leadership. You don't need to do this alone, so let's chat today and get your journey started. Don't forget to connect with me on LinkedIn or in the A Leader's Journey community on Facebook, and share this episode with another leader so we can all learn and grow together. That's all for this episode, and I'll see you next week. Until then, lead with confidence, show up every day as the leader you are striving to be, and make the decision today to level up your leadership this year.